Very much, Senator Rosen. Senator Sullivan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the witnesses for their important testimony today. Just want to make a statement, Senator Schmidt's point about the Europeans doing more. General, you highlighted this, but I really think the 2% GDP commitment they've all made on their NATO membership is really important now. I hear from folks back home in Alaska that, you know, they know how important this is, but if the Europeans can't meet their commitments, you're going to continue to see waning support in America. And I think all our European allies need to understand that. So, but what I want to do is I want to turn to a topic that surprisingly hasn't come up yet, that I know a number of you, Dr. Stent in particular, know and care about. That's the topic of energy. And I'd like to recount this story. My good friend, Senator John McCain, and I were in a meeting with a very brave Russian a Russian who's actually now in jail, Vladimir Kara-Murza. And I had asked him, what more can we do to undermine the Putin regime? This is a number of years ago. And he said, Senator, the answer is very simple. Produce more American energy. So American energy is this huge, important instrument of American power. Do you all agree with Vladimir Kara-Murza's statement on just how important energy is, similar to tanks and aircraft carriers, relative to Russia and relative to China? Xi Jinping fears American energy dominance, which we did such a good job of during the Trump administration. This administration now, from day one, has actually been attacking American energy, trying to shut down American energy, make it harder to produce. Literally insane, makes no sense. But can you talk very briefly, because I have a number of questions, on the importance of American energy, not just for Americans, but as an instrument of American power it relates to Russia? Dr. Stent, why don't you begin? I know you and your husband know a little bit about energy.
Thank you, Senator. No, I mean, I would agree with you. Russia was an energy superpower before this war began. It will no longer be an energy superpower.
And we are, if we want to be, if we could be, if we had the federal government's not help, just get the hell out of the way, right?
Right. So there's obviously a contradiction between the administration's policy on hydrocarbons and what would actually be needed to make it less easy for Russia to project its own power. I agree with you.
Thank you. General, you have a view on that? I'm sure you do.
Senator, my family's an oil well drilling family, so yeah, I get it. Yes, sir.
And it's a really important instrument of American power if we're the world's energy dominant. By the way, all of the above. I want wind, solar, you know, as long as we're not buying it from China. But oil and gas too, right?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Mascott, do you have a view on that?
I do. I think there are elements of sanctions that are less impactful. Russia is able to find alternative customers for its main imports. I mean,
but America producing energy as a way to undermine Putin's power is a no-brainer, isn't it?
I don't have an informed view, but that seems logical to me.
Okay. Let me, we're working on a project called the Willow Project. Just a quick, it's in Alaska. It's been under permitting, God knows how long, 20 years. It would be max production, about 200,000 barrels a day, 2,500 jobs to build it. We could start building it tomorrow if we get the president to approve it. Would a project like that help America's national security, an additional 200,000 barrels a day? Highest environmental standards in the world. Just real quickly, yes or no to each of the witnesses. Dr. Stunt?
Yes.
General?
Yes.
Ms. Mascott? Was that a yes, no, maybe?
Outside my area of expertise.
Okay.
So.
And then finally, just we have a member of the administration. He won't admit it, and maybe you should come out and deny it. Mr. Kerry, I'm not sure what to call him. He's not a senator. He's not a secretary of state. By the way, if we were up for confirmation, he wouldn't get confirmed in the Senate. He goes around the world, especially in Asia, cautioning countries not to buy American LNG. Is that a good idea from a national security perspective? Dr. Stent, do you have a view on that?
I think I'll pass on that one.
All right. General, how about you? good idea to go to Asia and say, hey, don't buy American LNG?
No, I think that's a very good idea.
No, it's really ridiculously stupid. Let me just ask one final question. On the F-16s, and this is just for all of the witnesses, I hosted some Ukrainian pilots last summer, very brave, credible young men. We wrote a letter to General Milley, Secretary Austin, last summer on the F-16s. I was very well informed that the Pentagon was moving towards approving F-16s. We've been working on it for months. And then the president got off the helicopter the other day and said, no, we're not going to do it. He looked very uninformed, but whatever, that's not always surprising. The Washington Post today came out with an editorial on moving forward the F-16s. What I worry about is this administration is going to do what they've been doing the whole time, which is eventually approve them. Looked like they were gonna before the president's statement. So can you, any or all of you, just opine very quickly on why that's important, this weapon system now, not, 5 months from now like they've been doing on other ones?
Sure. The reason why those systems are important is American technology is the best in the world. Our fighters, our bombers, the stealth technology, you name it, is the best in the world, and we should give them the best to have those fights. So it makes sense to give them systems like that if they believe it can improve the fight. It's if the F-16 is an example, is it a good air-to-air and air-to-ground system out there? We can put the most modern avionics on it, most modern weapon systems. Give them, I've always said this repeatedly, give them the systems, the best systems in the world to win the fight. Those best systems happen to be, I believe, American systems.
Any other views on the F-16 in particular?
Yes, I just would like to caution that we can give them an air platform, but we can't give them Western air power. There's a lot of additional enablers that go into that. It's not my decision to make about what to send them, but it's not just the pilots that need to be trained. It's the spare parts, it's the logisticians, it's everything else that goes into it. And what do we assume risk-wise if we invest in that capability? Is there something that comes off the table for the Ukrainians in the near term? I don't have that answer, but you all do. And I know you're making very difficult decisions every day. Just there's risks involved in everything, and there's no easy ways forward now.
Dr. Stent, you have a view? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Sullivan. Senator Peters, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to our witnesses, thank you for being here today. It's been quite a wide-ranging discussion. I think a lot of questions have already been asked that I was going to